There are more than 8 billion humans alive today, and we are consuming more and more resources. Now, this is causing big problems for the world we live in many ways. But when there is a crisis, there are trailblazers looking for solutions, and that's where EcoAfrica comes in. Welcome to the show. I am Chris Elems in Lagos, Nigeria. And joining me once again from Lusaka, Zambia, is my colleague, Malama Mukonde.
Well, thank you, Chris. It's a warm welcome from me too. Now, let me tell you what you can look forward to in today's show. Now, the women couriers in Ghana who are silently breaking stereotypes. How small farmers in Senegal are powering up with solar energy. And will our food be grown in the lab in the future? Our crowded cities bring a range of challenges, and some would say the worst is trash. Now, without proper waste management, when people don't have a proper way of disposing of their rubbish, well, things can get quickly out of hand. One community in Gambia is showing that change is possible when everyone works together.
Dirty streets don't stand a chance when this crew is out. Usain Koli organizes the weekend cleanups for the independent NGO Green Up Gambia. Here, the group of committed young volunteers is in Kanifing, Gambia's densely populated economic hub in Kombo province. But they know there is a lot more trash to collect elsewhere.
More than 500 tons of waste are collected daily in from Kombo, and that's only residential areas. Does not include the schools and the market. So roughly, if you add both the schools and the market and all the places together, the waste generated in this municipality alone can go roughly about 700 tons of waste.
While activist Usain Koli raised civic awareness with clean streets, Gambia, like many other African countries, is struggling with an even bigger problem: people dumping their trash illegally in the environment. In 2018, Kanifing's Municipal Council finally decided to tackle the issue.
I came to realize that there are a lot of illegal dumps. And then we conducted as a council what we call Operation Clear the Illegal Dumps. We were able to clear 65 illegal dumps. These are major illegal dumps, and put in a signboard to deter people from dumping those areas.
Next, the council created a collection service for Kanifing's 19 wards. Residents pay the equivalent of 15 euro cents per sack of waste, and a bit more for a full garbage bin. Each Mbalit truck, which means waste in the Wolof language, cost 90,000 euros. The initial fleet of trucks was bought with the help of a private Gambian consortium. The investment has paid off. The regular collection service is changing the city in many ways.
Previously, our workload was centered around illegal dump clearance, but now that has significantly reduced because of it. So the environmental impact is already there. We have seen legal dump reduced, and then when we even started clearing the illegal dumps and the Mbalit trucks started coming, we've realized that the incidence of malaria have also reduced within the municipality, and then gradually the mindset of people started changing.
Every day, roughly 400 tons of waste are dumped here at Bakote landfill. It's the size of 25 football pitches and a toxic hazard for the residents living in surrounding communities. The council's attempts to close the dump and move to a safer, more modern facility away from the population centers have stalled. There is a solution for organic waste, at least. The council is participating in a zero waste project run by a local NGO. 3,000 kilos of organic waste are collected from markets every month and turned into useful compost. And there is a further benefit too.
So this project, one, it tries to mitigate the effects of climate change, because the methane that comes out of organic waste, we all know, is more serious than the carbon that comes out from the cars.
The organic waste compost is used on these vegetable fields in the women's garden. Hundreds of mainly women grow organic vegetables on this communal land in Bakau, both for themselves and to sell on. The Zero Waste organizers also teach how to make compost. Eggshells are great, onion skins too, but nothing oily. Just add soil and water. High school students are also learning how to produce less waste. At Bakote, recycling is rare. So far, only plastic waste is sorted and sold on to companies who turn it into granulate. Scavengers can make a basic living, but less than from official recycling work. Changing such an informal system requires support from society as a whole.
As young people of the Gambia, we also have a responsibility to put our hands together with authorities as in national places. It has to be the combination of government and people to work together to make sure that the nation moves.
In Gambia, motivation is still high among these young people to join the street cleanup, as is the hope that one day, soon their efforts will no longer be necessary.
They're small and made of plastic, sachets. These little packets might be handy, but they quickly land in the garbage bin, and they don't rot. In our web special, we chart the journey of such a sachet, from the origins of the raw materials it's made from to its end on the rubbish heap. We find out why the number of sachets is growing and why they're so lucrative for businesses and so disastrous for our planet. Find out more at dw.com/plastic.
Our booming population goes hand in hand with a booming construction sector, and that can take its toll on the environment. Engineers are looking for alternatives to climate-damaging materials, and they've come up with some promising ideas.
These bricks are dry pressed and not fired in a kiln. They're made of sand and a bit of cement and a lot of muscle power. And no wood since there's no kiln. Ugandan architect Stephen Juko believes a switch to alternative construction materials is long overdue.
When you drive through many forests, they're no longer forests. You don't feel that darkness surrounding you. So the problem is dire, that we need to stop firing bricks to make our houses.
About a quarter of each brick is made out of cement though, and cement manufacturing produces a lot of CO2. But the interlocking bricks are easy to assemble, so they need less cement than regular ones do.
The block that comes out is the interlocking. It interlocks at the top, at the sides, and the bottom. So by that we reduce the amount of cement used to build a structure. In that way, we are reducing the emissions by reducing the cement and the amount of trees or vegetation that would have been cut down in order to produce a brick or to build a house.
In Uganda, most houses are still made out of kiln-fired bricks, which mostly use firewood. There are thousands of small brick-making businesses like this throughout the country. And the ongoing housing shortage means their bricks are in high demand. Using pressed bricks instead could help save a lot of firewood. The homes still look the same, and for the homeowners, they also offer other benefits.
Constructing with interlocking bricks enabled us to have our building in less than 2 months. It fit in our budget, and then we also saved because the money that we would have used to transport materials.
The construction industry is a major climate killer. Cement manufacturing accounts for some 8% of global carbon emissions. That's why engineers are studying ways to reduce or eliminate cement in brick making, including Marion Nuwahereza. She works for EcoConcrete, a company that makes cement using volcanic ash. Traditional cement is made out of limestone, and firing it emits massive amounts of CO2.
When you heat 1 kilogram of limestone, you emit about 44% of it as carbon dioxide, you only retain 55. So for 1 ton, when you put in all other production emissions, you find that for 1 ton, you're emitting about 500 kilograms of carbon dioxide. That is about half of it.
The engineer has been working with students at Makerere University in Kampala on the new process. Volcanic ash is plentiful in Uganda. Just like in ordinary cement, the recipe calls for sodium hydroxide, but the mixture doesn't need to be heated, so the process uses 5 times less energy than limestone-based cement. The result is what's called geopolymer cement. Their tests have shown that this product could cut emissions by 80% compared to Portland cement, which is used around the world.
We've been using it in blocks, building blocks, and we've also done water absorption tests, and these materials are proven to be better than Portland cement.
The engineer and the architect share a common goal: to help make Uganda's construction industry more sustainable.
The majority people can do are watch what they eat, how they get to work. But with engineers, it's different. They actually have the space to innovate and reduce the carbon dioxide emissions.
As someone who studied in the building profession, architecture, and then with my colleagues in engineering, we're responsible for many of the designs. So the process starts with us. The recommendations we make or the specifications we give to our clients.
While Stephen Juko has been using his bricks for several years, Marion Nuwahereza is starting pilot production and hopes she'll soon get the green light from local authorities. Next, we head to Germany, where some food scientists are trying to improve global food security. Now, the world's population is still growing and could hit 10 billion people by 2050. Now, that's a lot of mouths to feed. Meat substitutes grown in labs could help. They don't need as much land or water as regular meat production, and they aren't as badly affected by climate change. We visited 2 companies to see what they are cooking up.
Blue Seafood, a startup in Hamburg, Germany, has revolutionary plans to put the first lab-grown fish fillets on the market. They still have a way to go, but they've already rolled out some fish sticks and fish balls, a whole new source of food. As human beings, we have basically evolved to hunt animals and catch fish, which means to eat fish and meat. And now we're making a radical break from that, saying we don't need that anymore. It's really a whole new dimension that's opening up to us. So, how does a lab make fish balls? Blue Seafood cultivates isolated fish cells in a nutrient solution. From these, the technicians can grow fish meat with all the nutritional value it contains. But they start off with a normal piece of fish. Although this fish is dead, it still contains living cells. Once we've opened up the tissue a bit by chopping it up, we go a step further. We add an enzyme solution that will extract the individual cells from the tissue. These cells will then be multiplied. They get the perfect nutritional mix for mass production, and the cells are hungry. It's like having a pet. You have to take care of it. If you go on vacation for a week, you have to make sure someone else feeds your pet. In the same way, someone has to feed the cells. A genuine fish fillet is still the stuff of the future. That would require a variety of cell types, including fat cells and a framework to grow on. The fish balls are a beginning. So far, lab-grown fish meat is not approved for sale anywhere in the world, but Blue Seafood recently applied for approval in Singapore. We're moving from the lab stage to industrial-scale production. We still have a few challenges to deal with, but we've seen that it works. It's not a question of whether it will happen someday, but when. What has already happened long ago is vegan substitute products, made of soy, for instance. Or seitan, like this cutlet. Corn Foods, founded in the UK, sells meat substitute products derived from the fungal microorganism Fusarium. And the German company Next Foods is working on a chickenless egg. The Hamburg startup Infinite Roots is developing a meat substitute based on edible mushrooms, or their mycelia to be more precise. The mycelium is the part of the mushroom that normally grows underground. We grow it in what's known as a submersion culture, which is once again a nutrient solution. The mushrooms grow on residue from beer and coffee production. The advantages over conventional beef are far less land use and more efficient energy use. It's much quicker too. Only a few days after starting, it's ready for harvesting. I let the mycelia grow in very, very big fermenters. The biggest fermenter we've used so far had 100 cubic meter capacity. That's as tall as a multi-story building. The raw product has a umami-like flavor and supplies important proteins, vitamins and minerals. So the final product contains few additives. The company is now waiting for approval in the European Union. But what will it mean for us if most of our meat and fish comes from bioreactors? People used to think we were at the center of the universe, until someone said, no, it's not like that. That was the Copernican revolution. It caused massive consternation and completely changed how we perceive the universe. If you think about what the Copernican revolution did, that will give you an idea of what meat and fish from bioreactors will mean to people. That revolution is beginning. It may be one answer to the increasing stress on our environment and a growing world population. Food grown not on the land, but in the lab.
Our next report shows how human-caused climate change is already threatening food security. Rainy seasons are becoming increasingly unreliable in many regions, and for many farmers, keeping their businesses running is a losing battle. In Senegal, an innovative African-led project is helping small-scale farmers to cope and at the same time make the leap to clean energy.
It's a desperate scene. The water tank is bone dry, the groundwater pump is broken, and the diesel canisters are empty. All abandoned by a Senegalese farmer overwhelmed by the effects of climate change and rising fuel costs. It's a growing problem here. There are farmers who use 1,200 liters of diesel to irrigate a single hectare of agricultural land. We are in the Niayes region in northwestern Senegal, a region stretching 180 kilometers between the capital Dakar and the city of Saint-Louis. It is the country's vegetable growing hub, but it's raining less and less here, and groundwater levels are dropping. Yankoba Ndiaye is currently cultivating potatoes and onions on his 3-hectare plot, but he's also managed to cultivate aubergines and other vegetables on this land too. Until recently, this antiquated diesel generator was the smallholder's only means of pumping groundwater onto his fields. Now he has 9 solar panels too. This clean energy is helping him to save money and keep his business afloat. Before getting the solar plant, I was facing enormous difficulties because my diesel pump guzzled more than 60 liters of diesel and often broke down. But with this installation of the solar panels, my consumption has dropped by 20 liters. I can't irrigate my entire farm using solar energy, but I can switch off the diesel generator at noon and just use the solar power for the rest of the day. Yankoba Ndiaye bought the solar panels with the help of a small loan equivalent to 6,000 euros. Thanks to support from a state bank, he only has to repay half of the loan. The loan was brokered by an association in Thiès, in the south of the region, that represents more than 20,000 vegetable farmers. Mamadou Ndiaye has managed to secure microcredits for solar panels for about 300 of his members via a Senegalese financial institution. The long-term goal is to decarbonize farming in the region and save livelihoods in the face of the climate crisis. It's a problem if we don't modernize our ways of working and take into account dwindling water resources. That's why we have to introduce solar pumps, so that farmers save money, conserve water supplies, and save jobs. Spilled diesel contaminates the soil and can get into the groundwater. Like other farmers, Yankoba Ndiaye is enthusiastic about the benefits of switching to clean energy. We have had courses about the harmful effects of using diesel. It's not just the smoke. The fuel can also pollute the ground and the harvest. But the farmers who still use diesel don't have any other choice. Personally, I wouldn't use any more diesel on my fields either if I had 5 solar kits. But the smallholder can't afford to do that. That's unfair, according to agronomist Mamadou Sow from the Senegalese NGO Enda Third World. Sow says the microfinance system favors big farmers. Interest rates are often a problem. They're often too high, and that means that the producers frequently don't have the flexibility to commit to such an investment. What we are seeing is that people with more capital than the smallholders are the ones profiting from this kind of investment. More affordable solar facilities like Yankoba Ndiaye's could help the region's farmers survive. The Niayes region is also crucial for food security. This fertile coastal strip produces more than 60% of Senegal's vegetables.
The green energy transition is well underway across Africa, and it's bringing more than just solar panels. Electric vehicles are becoming a more common sight in many cities and promise a future where roads are free of the deafening noise and poisonous exhaust smoke that are a daily burden for road travelers. And as our next report from Ghana shows, some forms of electric transport are bringing real change to some people's lives right now.
These queens in Tamale in northern Ghana rule silently. Rahamatu Saeed is one of some 20 women couriers weaving through the traffic on electric scooters. Not only can she travel her routes without a noisy, smelly engine on board, the job also gives her a new sense of freedom.
After graduating from nursing training, we came out and we realized that there is nothing to do. Every day we are just in the house. So I came in search of a job, and I found delivery. And me particularly, I like bikes.
The wheels of Rahamatu Saeed's scooter turn quietly but constantly, up to 16 deliveries on a busy day. Ever more companies in Ghana are employing women in previously male-dominated jobs. That and the green mobility aspect have been lauded by women's organisations.
Companies are running services that are destroying the earth, so they make profit while making the earth cry. And when the earth cry, we all suffer. These bikes, electronic bikes, are safer for the environment and also safer for the earth.
Ghana's carbon emissions are expected to quadruple by 2050 unless it can electrify its transport. Combustion motorbikes are still the norm in Ghana, as in many parts of the world. Rahamatu Saeed's delivery company switched to electric through a grant from the Ghana Climate Innovation Fund. The company has an electric fleet of 20 bikes that are easy to use and require little maintenance. The business model is not only empowering women and challenging stereotypes with its confident female couriers like Rahamatu Saeed, it's also a pioneering example of how Ghana can drive forward its country's energy transition.
That's all for today's show. Would love to hear your thoughts. So please do write us at eco@dw.com. For more stories on sustainability, both in Africa and around the world, visit EcoAfrica online. It's goodbye from me, Chris Alems, in Lagos, Nigeria.
And from the capital of Zambia, I want to say thanks for watching and tune in next week for more stories about working for a better future. I'm Malama Mukonde in Lusaka. It's goodbye for now.